Presenting facts pertaining to the fundamental rights petitions filed to postpone general election commences. Landslide warnings issued for 10 districts. 2 people die after boat capsizes in Beruala. Prime Minister says government positions will be handed over to retired armed forces personnel. Former Captain Mahela Jayawardena and several other groups voiced their opposition against Diyagama Cricket Stadium proposal.
මේවා කියනකොට රටේ ජනතාවට හිතෙනවා මේ ආණ්ඩුවට විකාරද කියලා.
Good evening and welcome to Prime Time News on TV1. On to those stories in detail. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa issued a message in line with War Heroes Day.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said on the 19th of May, we mark the 11th anniversary of the victory against the liberation tigers of Tamil Eelam, and not a war against the Tamil people, but against an organization designated by the FBI as the deadliest terrorist in the world. In a media release issued to commemorate the 11th anniversary of the victory against the LTTE, the Prime Minister said due to the defeat of the LTTE, Tamil people are now free to live as they wish. He went on to note that Tamil children are no longer forcibly recruited by the LTTE, and Tamil politicians no longer live in fear of LTTE assassins. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also said the armed forces and police that amazed the entire world by winning what was widely considered to be an unwinnable war are now once again engaged in a joint operation with the state health sector in combating COVID-19. According to the Prime Minister, all indications are that Sri Lanka is winning the battle against COVID-19 as well. The Prime Minister said if a retired member of the armed forces is appointed to some position in the government, it is not militarization because the person who has retired from the armed forces is a civilian and no longer a member of the military. He said that as long as the present government is in power, there will always be former members of the armed forces and police holding various positions in the government.
Now, presenting facts pertaining to the fundamental rights petitions filed against, or rather to postpone, the general election commenced earlier today. We now join Charlene Benedict from the Newsfirst newsroom for more of the latest from that story.
When will the general election be held? Has the constitution of Sri Lanka been violated? Is there room to hold a free and fair election? Now, these are some matters that are being taken up before the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. As 7 petitioners have petitioned the Supreme Court alleging that their fundamental rights have been violated in this respect. Joining us is senior journalist Ashoka Dias. So tell us what really happened from the beginning of this.
This is very important procedure and very important process. If a Sri Lankan citizen feels that his or her fundamental rights are being violated, he or she could petition to the highest court in Sri Lanka. That's the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. So because that the elections are being postponed, 7 parties petitioned to the Supreme Court stating that their fundamental rights, the Constitution and the 1981 Election Act are being violated. Last Monday, the cases were taken up first in the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka, and then the intervening parties, that is anyone who is interested in this matter, is free to come up and be an intervening party. So as Charlene said, 7 petitions and 13 intervening parties are now before the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. They complain that the Constitution, the fundamental rights and the 1981 Election Act are being violated.
Of course, after the case was taken up for consideration to grant leave to proceed today, representing one of the petitioners, a group of petitioners, was President's Counsel M.A. Sumantiran, and these are the views that were expressed by him after the case was considered for today.
I appear for in respect of two petitions. One petition is by Charita Gunaratna. The other petition has Mr. Victor Ivan and 7 others. I made submissions today and stated that Parliament is an institution that never dies. It's always alive. From time to time, new members are elected to that Parliament. And when an early elections are called, the time period that is permitted by the Constitution is maximum 3 months. Within that, it has to be completed within a period of 3 months. In those circumstances, when the President called for early elections on the 2nd of March, he also specified 2 other dates of elections as well as convening of new Parliament. Both those subsequent dates have now passed, 25th of April and 14th of May. And therefore, that document being one whole, the whole document is now invalid and void in law.
Now, making submissions in the Supreme Court today, President's Counsel M.A. Sumantiran said by failing to conduct the parliamentary polls and to reconvene Parliament within 3 months as required by the Constitution, officials have not only violated the Constitution and the Parliamentary Elections Act, they have also violated the fundamental rights of the petitioners. Now, he pointed out that the government has betrayed the people's right to vote by choosing to stall the functions of Parliament and put democracy under lockdown. Now, President's Counsel Sumantiran further said that the attempt by the government to hold parliamentary elections on the 20th of June amid the COVID-19 outbreak here in Sri Lanka is merely a politically expedient act to secure a majority in Parliament, even at the risk of endangering the general public of Sri Lanka. He also added that this is not a free and fair election. And also speaking, making more submissions at the Supreme Court, President's Counsel M.A. Sumantiran added that Parliament cannot be reconvened within 3 months on the 2nd of June as required by the Constitution, and the election also has been set on the 20th of June, and added that as a result of this, the Gazette issued by the President on the 2nd of March is null and void and of no force of law. President's Counsel Sumantiran said that courts should not allow the country to be governed by only the executive while leaving out Parliament in the process. He stressed that the dates for the election were set at a time when the coronavirus pandemic was rapidly spreading across the world. Now, President's Counsel Sumantiran said that the Constitution has empowered the President to dissolve Parliament after 4.5 years lapses since it first convened, under the strict condition that Parliament should be reconvened within 3 months. And he added that this is not for the President or the Elections Commission to postpone elections and leave Parliament dysfunctional for as long as they want to. He pointed out that it is the duty of courts to direct the rulers of the country to act for the welfare of the people and not for their political agendas. Now, the petitions filed by Attorney at Law Charita Gunaratna and a number of other parties requesting court to suspend the Gazette issued calling for the elections on the 20th of June, and also the Gazette issued dissolving Parliament on the 2nd of March, were taken up before a Supreme Court bench comprising of Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya, Justices Gonekalu Vihare, Sisiri Diabru, Priyanta Jayawardena and Vijit Malalgoda. Now, as you mentioned, Ashoka, there were a number of intervening parties to this petition, and representing one of the intervening parties in court, Attorney at Law Premanathi Dolawatta was present in court, and once the hearing was done, this is what he had to say.
All the people who rallied against holding an election have now come together, and now they are seeking the help of the court. Everyone knows who is responsible of holding an election. According to the 19th Amendment of the Constitution, that power is vested with the National Elections Commission. All of us know that no one is being influential to hold the election immediately. The Supreme Court examines the case at a different place. If there is any issue pertaining to that, it is the health sector that will make a decision. No one can go beyond the health sector and set a date. People who were in the old parliament are trying to do this. The same parliament the general public rejected. There are more than enough provisions put in place by our constitution giving instructions how to act in such an emergency situation and when the parliament is dissolved to hold an election. But there seems to be various opinions. I think the Supreme Court judges will make a decision about this.
We refuse to believe that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa would act unconstitutionally. If the opposition is not satisfied with it, they have alternatives which could be followed. They can institute legal action. The article in the Constitution clearly states that the executive president should feel he cannot control a given situation. If he feels that he has it under control, no one can make him think otherwise.
Even during the 52-day fiasco, they said the appointment of Mahinda Rajapaksa was legal. For their luck, only 11 judges were in the Supreme Court. All 11 of them determined it was illegal. If there were 20 or 21, all of them would object. Those are some of the acts done by Mahinda Rajapaksa and his posse in the recent past. The petitions filed by our faction will be taken up for consideration and assigned dates. When that happens, everyone who is trying to assert their authority on various media will have to revoke their statements and keep quiet.
According to the Constitution, funds can be allocated for 3 months after a new parliament is summoned to meet. At present, neither has Parliament been summoned nor has the election been held. Therefore, according to the Constitution, the President can allocate funds during this period. There is no constitutional issue there. The fact that it is unconstitutional is a lie. The UNP is attempting to create a false narrative to postpone the election.
We fear for the lives of the people. We should reiterate that this government does not care for the well-being of the people if they are pushing for an election amid a pandemic. Their greed for power is such. Certain factions have filed petitions in court. The parliament holds the undivided right to handle the finances of the country. That is not being adhered to right now. There is no issue with parliament being dissolved, but it is questionable whether it is morally right to dissolve parliament against a backdrop where the entire world, including Sri Lanka, is battling a virus. We need to ask this question from the government and the president.
There will be no productive outcome in reconvening Parliament. We see the need to convene a new Parliament. Our stance is that the election cannot be postponed continuously. A Parliament is needed. Under the Constitution, an executive, legislature and judiciary should be in place. The National Elections Commission bears the responsibility of deciding on the election date. The opposition always attempted to postpone election because they fear the mandate of the people and they know that they will suffer a massive loss.
Today was the first day of submissions and objections being presented in the Supreme Court against the holding of an election violating the Constitution. Against such a backdrop, where the Gazette issued by the President has been made null and void, we saw the determination of the Supreme Court regarding the matter. We have complete faith that the Supreme Court would hand down a fair decision. There is no way the Supreme Court could issue an order violating the Constitution. We have complete faith in the independence of the judiciary. However, we should also remember that there are examples in the past where the independence of the judiciary was challenged.
Several petitions are being examined at the Supreme Court. We believe once the final decisions are handed down, a new government will be established alongside Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa to carry forward the President's national policy. It is extremely unfair of them to advocate the postponement of the election because they are ill-prepared to face an election. The conspirators of 2015 have banded together this time as well. As a government, we cannot influence the independence of the judiciary. We will have to honor the decisions of the Supreme Court. We have done so even when we were in the opposition. There is a difference between the Yahapalana government and ours. That is, unlike them, we will not influence the AG's department or the courts.
Even now, the Parliament can be convened. We are not saying that because we want to get into Parliament. It has to be done legally. A country cannot function without a parliament for more than 3 months. Why are they afraid to convene the parliament? They say that they are afraid because we have more power in parliament. But we do not want to grab the power we gave to them.
Meanwhile, representatives of the National Trade Union Centre arrived at the Human Rights Commission today. They had arrived to complain against moves to slash salaries of state sector employees. The Secretary to the President, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, made a request. None of the state sector employees agreed with it. The Minister and heads of departments had agreed and had done this in a selfish manner. It is when they had received their salaries that they had seen part of their monthly salaries were cut by force. This is serious.
In
fact, this is not a request. This is an exploitation of state power. There is no way to charge anyone on their salaries without their permission. They established a fund called Helping Hambantota. Nobody knows what happened to it. They established another fund to build the Northern Railway track. Nobody knows what happened to that money. So the state sector has no faith on these funds. We would like to warn the government to not take the money of the public without their consent.
සේවකින්ගේ කැමැත්තකින් තොරව මේ මුදල් අය කරන එක වහාම අත්හිටුවන්න ඕන.
The Met Department says the severe cyclonic storm Amphan further intensified into an extremely severe cyclonic storm and lays centered over the central part of the southern Bay of Bengal. The department further notes that it is very likely to intensify into a super cyclonic storm during the next 12 hours and is likely to move north and northeastwards towards West Bengal coast during the afternoon of the 20th of May.
Basnahiya, Sabaragamu,
Cloudy skies can be expected over the island. Showers or thundershowers will occur in southern and central provinces with isolated very heavy showers exceeding 150 millimeters. This rain will be accompanied with both strong and sporadic rain with strong winds. Wind speeds will be between 40 and 50 kilometers per hour, while wind speeds in coastal areas will be between 60 and 70 kilometers per hour. The reason behind this is the cyclone in the Bay of Bengal. Even though we have no direct threat through this storm will travel northwards and move northwest and away from the island. We can tell the public that there will be rain over the next few days.
The landslide warning issued to 10 districts in lieu of the existing inclement weather has been extended. These districts include Galle, Matale, Ratnapura, Kalutara, Mathura, Colombo, Kegalle, Kurunegala, Nuwara and Kandy. The National Building Research Organisation has further asked that locals pay attention to cracks on walls and on the ground and the emergence of springs.
Coastal erosion has become a common occurrence for many days in the sea near Mahaweva Todavawa, Chilao. Last night, the area residents had to evacuate to safe locations after seawater rushed ashore. The situation had gradually changed as of this morning. With the intervention of the Divisional Secretary of Mahaweva, stone blockages were installed in the beach.
As of now, the Coastal Conservation Department has intervened and put stone and sand on the beach. They have been doing so since last week. However, during the curfew, those activities were halted. Because of that, people raised questions regarding this. But now the Coastal Conservation Department has started their work again.
A number of incidents were reported from areas in the country last night due to the inclement weather. This was especially because of strong winds that blew across the island. Trees had fallen in Thammankadua and Lankapura villages in Polonnaruwa last night. This had also caused damage to power lines in the area. A total of 73 families across 7 divisions were affected as a result. While strong winds were reported from Hatton, traffic in the area was also disrupted as power lines collapsed onto the roads. Travelling along the A9 road was disrupted as trees had fallen across the road in Vaunia. One person was injured. The Iratti Periykulam police officers intervened and cleaned up the road.
3 fishermen from the fisheries harbour in Magbona were caught in a current and 2 of them died. The third fisherman was admitted to the Kalutara hospital. Our correspondent said further investigations are being carried out by the Magwan police.
The Indian Oil Company has increased the price of a litre of 92-octane petrol by 5 rupees.
The IOC has increased the price of octane 92 petrol from 137 rupees to 142 rupees a litre. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, however, has not increased the prices of petrol. Will the price of petrol supplied by CPETCO be increased as in the case of the IOC? We inquired about this from the subject minister.
We didn't know that the price has been increased, but we will not increase our prices today.
Why is the benefit of the oil price reduction in the world market not given to the people? Isn't it the government's responsibility to regulate oil prices?
As per the agreement, we do not have to tell the IOC to increase prices. Even though global prices have dropped, the dollar has appreciated. When the Indian Oil Company increases the price by 5%, we have to ask the cabinet and the government who controls the country. Is it not the government that decides on the price of fuel? Is it the Indian Oil or Consumer Affairs Authority? Increases in prices will reduce demand. Due to lack of demand, the profitability of the Indian company will decrease in some way. If the profit is going down, then why does the Indian company do this? The main objective of the Indian Oil Company is to supply fuel to foreign ships, and they are making a huge profit. That is why they are using their permits in such a manner.
Increasing the price of petrol by the IOC is a sign that the government will proceed to follow them in increasing petrol prices.
IOC සමාගම ලංකාවට ගෙනාවේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයාගේ රජය කාලේ මෙහි වරද තියෙන්නේ.
There is an issue with the IOC agreement. Ranil Wickremesinghe signed this agreement. We were even opposed to the MCC agreement. Even if we may be receiving benefits personally, we didn't agree if we couldn't turn it back.
ඉවිසුම් වලින් යම්කිසි වරප්‍රසාද දුන්නට පස්සේ අපිට කොච්චර හිත කරගමුණත් ඒ වෙනස් කිරීමට හැකියාවක් ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ.
They make 20 million in profits daily. They can provide petrol at rupees 35. The government exists to make these decisions.
The
oil prices started to go down because of this current crisis. We don't expect big profits because the concessions are being distributed within this time to the people. The government needs the money to make those concessions, so they cannot be reduced. So you need to maintain a certain level of price. The country's income streams have stalled. We need some income. Does the LIOC have any ethical right to increase oil prices when the global oil prices are decreasing? Are you on the side of the people or the oil companies? This is a low act. I urge you to immediately lower the price of oil even lower than what it was.
කියන්නට කැමතියි. වහාම තෙල් මිල තිබුණු තත්වයට නෙවෙයි ඒකටත් වැඩිය තමුන්නාන්සලාට අඩු කරන්නයි කියලා අපි බල කරනවා.
Although global oil prices change, oil prices in Sri Lanka would not change until the end of the year. If oil prices go down, a special bank account is in place at the Bank of Ceylon to deposit the profit. We are hoping to collect 200 million rupees for this fund. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation is in massive debt. This fund will be able to pay off the debt.
A further 21 patients who tested positive for COVID-19 have returned home after making a complete recovery. This raises the total number of recovered patients to 559. Up to now, a total of 986 individuals have tested positive for the virus in the country. 418 COVID patients are currently receiving treatment in hospitals, while 149 individuals are being monitored as suspected cases. People faced many issues in accessing public transport today. Buses and trains operated today only to transport both public and private sector employees to their places of work.
The transport service that operated for over 300 staff members of the Gampa hospital did not operate today. Employees faced difficulties in reporting to work this morning. The Dulapitiya bus depot did not operate this bus service as the Western Provincial Council did not make their payments. People objected when a train operating from the Polgahavela train station attempted to leave the train station early. The train was due to leave at 6:30 a.m. Not all people were allowed to board the 5:30 a.m. train from the Mahama train station today. Navy officials conducted health checks on passengers who were allowed to board the train. Police worked hard to maintain social distancing among the general public in busy areas in Colombo and a number of other cities. Passengers at the Demathagoda train station were subject to a temperature check before they were allowed to board the train this morning. Buses and other vehicles carrying passengers more than the amount stipulated by the government were stopped at the Ingurukade junction this morning. 20 people who did not adhere to social health regulations were arrested.
The second phase of distributing the 5,000 rupee allowance commenced in several districts today. However, a number of heated situations arose in several areas when doling out the money.
Residents of Ukkuweli in Trincomalee under the Gindanagar Grama Seva division gathered at the Samurdhi coordinating office in the area after they were informed that they would receive the 5,000 rupee allowance. However, no state official arrived at the office until 10:30 this morning. As a result, the residents who had to stand in long queues since morning started to agitate and behave in an unruly manner. Thereafter, police officers attached to the Trincomalee police station came to the location to curb the situation. Following the explanation given by the Samurdhi officer, the people started to behave in an unruly manner again.
Now, for more information regarding this story, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. On to more news. Sri Lanka Cricket says the proposed international cricket stadium, which is to be constructed in Diyagama, Homagama, was planned since Sri Lanka Cricket had been exploring possibilities in acquiring a suitable land closer to Colombo to build a fully fledged international cricket stadium with a view to accommodating 40,000 spectators. Issuing a media release, SLC notes against such a backdrop, the government had allocated a 26-acre land in Homagama in order to build an international cricket stadium.
The release adds the proposed international cricket stadium would be constructed at SLC's cost. Former Sri Lanka Test cricket captain Mahela Jayawardena has posted a tweet on his official Twitter handle regarding the proposed international cricket stadium in Diyagama, Homagama. The tweet reads, "We don't play enough international cricket or domestic first-class cricket in the existing stadiums we have. Do we need another one?"
The government has decided to construct the largest cricket stadium in Sri Lanka at this time. Are we in a position to construct such a stadium? The country is in turmoil owing to COVID-19. There are no funds to pay state sector employees. Government employees are being made redundant. The government has issued letters claiming they cannot pay overtime payments for health sector workers, those who sometimes work 24 hours. PB Jayasundar has requested salaries to be donated. They are unable to pay graduates 20,000 rupees. Is a stadium needed amid all of this? Sri Lanka has already more international cricket stadiums than England, the birthplace of cricket.
These kinds of statements lead people to believe if this government is crazy. The burning issue at present is how the people of this country will eat in the future. The government is providing comic relief to the people to undermine the true situation. The President's secretary is even willing to beg for the state sector workers' salary. There is no way to pay salaries. This is a time where the people should be mindful instead of following blind devotion. The government continues to make clear that they are attempting to blind the people with the coronavirus and loot them further.
අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක්
We do not have an issue if they construct cricket stadiums in every electorate as long as they have funds. Even when they were in power last time around, they spent millions to construct a cricket stadium in Hambantota. The people of the country know how much cricket was played there.
රටේ මිනිස්සු දන්නවා.
මේක තමයි අපිට තියෙන පුදුමේ.
This is the dilemma. Construction of the Suryavava Stadium cost 2 billion, but the COPE report says it cost 5 billion. 5 billion has been spent for a ground which only cost 2 billion to construct. Now they are to invest 8 billion in this. No cricket has been played at Suryavava. Elephants roam around the stadium. There is no way to pay workers. They cannot cut off farmers' loans. Farmers do not have fertilizer. There is no way to provide farmers with fertilizer concessions. They love constructing such stadiums because they receive chunks of commissions around 20 to 25%.
125යි.
They are to construct a cricket stadium in Homagama at a cost of nearly 700 to 750 billion rupees. That is more than fourfold the money that is in the COVID-19 fund. I cannot even comprehend that Dr. Bandula Gunawardena made such a statement. I, however, continue to hope that the president would oppose such a move.
We are not spending a cent of taxpayer funds. The cricket board together with the ICC will use their own funds to invest, and we have very happily given them the space to do so. In the midst of this COVID pandemic, we have to live with it and look forward to the future. The stadium is also set to take 3 years to complete.
ක්‍රීඩාංගණයේ තන නිම වෙනකොට අවුරුදු 3ක් යනවා.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1. We leave you tonight with yet another rendition of the Nagitimu Sri Lanka theme song created by the employees of the Theva Residency Hotel in Kandy. I'm Jaimal Ratnayaka for the Newsfirst team along with our sign language interpreter Brian De Cruz. Take care, stay safe and good night.
Saka sangka badaka atarin nagitimu Sri Lanka hitamu idiriyata kawanna hama nagitimu Sri Lanka heta dewana nawa lokaya hamuwe nagitimu Sri Lanka nagitimu Sri Lanka api nagitimu Sri Lanka Sri Lanka Meran bhumiye urume apage nagitimu Sri Lanka nagitimu Sri Lanka api nagitimu Sri Lanka matram kanada manida panpuwale endidum Sri Lanka naatamuti namurume desatte kaapu mirukanna to hope and pray and heal our motherland. We must unite and march ahead to rise Sri Lankans now. Hey, Sri Lanka, rise up Sri Lanka, Nagitimu Sri Lanka, api Nagitimu Sri Lanka.
Gammadda, Nagitimu Sri Lanka.